You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak, an awe-inspiring masterpiece inspired by the mystery and majesty of the season. The Canadian Mennonite University Festival Chorus presents J.S. Bach's magnificent Christmas Oratorio, the Weihnachtsoratorium BWV 248, a musical telling of the nativity story in the 12 days of Christmas. To hear more about the work, I'm joined by Dr. Janet Brenneman, Associate Professor of Music, Dean of the School of Music at CMU, and conductor of the Oratorio, and soloist and CMU alum Nolan Kaler. Hello to you both.
Hi, Simon.
Good morning, Simon.
It's great to have you here. The Christmas Oratorio, a favorite of many this time of the year. Janet, for the uninitiated, can you tell us a bit more about this marvelous work?
I sure can. Thank you very much, Simon, for having us here today. So this work was composed in 1734 in Leipzig by Bach, and Bach had begun writing many church cantatas, and in this time he started to write some more oratorios. And so this oratorio is in fact 6 cantatas in one. It's 6 parts, so it's sort of like 6 different cantatas, and it was intended for the 6 feast days during the Christmas season. So parts 1 to 3 were sung in the church, were performed in the church on December 25, 6, and 27. Part 4 was on New Year's Day. Part 5 was the Sunday after, and part 6 was for Epiphany. So you get the whole Christmas story, right from the birth of Jesus to the shepherd's journey to Bethlehem, and their fear at seeing the angels, and then their excitement at seeing the new baby, and then you also get the story of the naming of Christ and wise men and King Herod as well.
You know, you mentioned how these are 6 cantatas for the 6 feast days, but it's almost as if Bach anticipated them all being used in a concert format, didn't he?
Well, I'm not sure if he totally anticipated that, but it certainly works that way. It certainly does, yes.
So the holiday's a time when one often reconnects with friends and family. Nolan, how does it feel to be reconnecting with your CMU family?
I've talked a little bit about with choir members and orchestra members about home field advantage, sports metaphor where you always have. It's awesome to have that hometown crowd behind you, and so awesome to come back and perform with people that you know. And I think that's really what's special about this performance in the first place, is that after 2 years of being together but apart, that we're actually together in earnest again, performing alongside friends and in some cases in the choir, family members. It was remarkable being in rehearsal yesterday to see sons sitting in front of fathers, daughters and their mothers in front of each other and alongside of each other. And I think for me to come back to that fold, to see people that I came up with in the CMU School of Music, in the choir, as well as the prospect of performing not only at a wonderful place like First Mennonite Church here in Winnipeg, but to go back even further into my home field advantage to perform at Buehler Hall in Gretna at MCI, which really sparked my passion for this music to begin with. That there's not really a word to describe how special that is.
You speak of your passion for music. You graduated back in 2017 from CMU. You completed a master's out at University of Victoria, and you've enjoyed a varied musical career since, singing a bit of everything with seemingly everyone in town and abroad. What's special about performing music of Bach to you?
For me, performing Bach is a breath of fresh air, and it is coming back to the roots. I often say to the people who I perform Bach with in other locations, even a couple of weeks ago back in Victoria, singing the music of Bach was, and talking about coming back here is a little bit like just saying that the people around here get it. There's something in the water in Winnipeg. We know we yeah, there's no other way to say it other than that the people around here, the audiences around here, the performers around here, it's in the blood. It's in the water of the rivers that we just can understand the substance of what is of what we're trying to do. And it's really it's launched me into a place of really interesting perspective to be able to bring that sense of the music to everywhere that I've gotten to sing in.
And you bring perspective, singing the role of the evangelist. You keep the drama moving forward through the Christmas Oratorio, as Bach so often does in his oratorios and in the Passions. You'll be joined by a great cast of soloists: Katharina Unruh, Kirsten Schellenberg, and Matthew Pauls. Janet, the CMU Festival Chorus that is assembled for this concert is a very special one for a few reasons. The first concert back, and as Nolan mentioned earlier, joined by alumni and friends, correct?
Yes, well, the CMU Festival Chorus has a long history in our institution. It was originally the Mennonite Festival Chorus, which had, which brought together the two founding colleges, MBBC and CMBC, and the former conductors, Bill Berg and George Wiebe and Rudy Schellenberg. They were all, part of those colleges. And in 2017, we brought it under the umbrella of CMU. And I'm just so thrilled with that because it is a very wonderful place for current students, for alumni, for community members, and as Nolan said, family members. We have mothers. My own daughter is singing in the choir, and we have spouses and partners that are singing together, and it's wonderful. And faculty and staff from CMU who are in the choir. So biology prof is singing in the choir, John Brubaker, and Carl Koop, one of our theologians, and Andrew Dick, another theologian. They're all singing in the choir. It's amazing, actually. Just a wonderful feeling of CMU being together in community.
Well, that's just it. So often we talk about choir being community, and that on full display in this Christmas Oratorio. You were naming off so many singers. Janet, do you have any idea how many there are in total?
I do. We have 57 singers in the choir, and then it is a 22-piece orchestra.
Wow. And speaking of the orchestra, we can't forget the Mennonite Community Orchestra, can we?
Well, right. And so there are members of the Mennonite Community Orchestra in this orchestra, but it's really an orchestra made up that we have put together for this event. So we're calling it the CMU Festival Orchestra.
Wow.
Our concertmaster is Nathan Poole, and we've got a wonderful cast of musicians with Leanne Regier-Lee on continuo. And it's going to be a very exciting event. I had my first rehearsal with them on Saturday, and for a group that hasn't played together before, it sure was, it was marvelous.
Yeah, that does not come as a surprise, I don't think. As Nolan said, Bach is sort of in the blood in this neck of the woods. Two performances of the Christmas Oratorio, the first in Winnipeg, that's coming up on Friday, December 9th, and then the second the following night in Gretna. Why was it important to present this work not only in Winnipeg, Janet?
Well, Southern Manitoba, I have such a warm spot in my heart for Southern Manitoba, even though I'm not from here. I'm originally from Ontario, but there's been such a strong connection for me with Southern Manitoba, being here at this institution at CMU, but also because I conduct the Faith and Life Women's Chorus, which is out of Mennonite Church, Manitoba. And I have 50 choir members in there, and half of them are from Southern Manitoba. And Nolan is from Southern Manitoba. And we just, these works don't often get to Southern Manitoba, and we expect Southern Manitoba to always drive to us to hear our concerts and our performances. And so it's a way of bringing CMU into that community. And we said right from the start, Nolan and I did, as we were planning this project, that we had to go to Buehler Hall. What a beautiful place to perform in. And we know it's well suited to this work and our project.
I'm sure they appreciate you making the trek out, and will, of course, appreciate this wonderful music that you'll be presenting. Janet, Nolan, thank you for taking the time to chat with me at Classic 107 today.
Thanks very much, Simon.
Thanks a lot, Simon.